According to the Bible, after Cain killed Abel in Genesis 4:8, there was only Adam, Eve, and Cain on the planet Earth. So who did Cain mate with to have Enoch mentioned in Genesis 4:17, when according to Genesis 4:16 Cain had just been sent out of the Garden of Eden and dwelled in the land of Nod? They don't know. Genesis 4:16-17. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived, and bare Enoch, and he builded a city, and called the name of the city, after the name of his son, Enoch. In Genesis 18:21 it states, Genesis 18:21, I will go down now, and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. Why would the Almighty God have to come down to earth to see something physically? Because the word used for see in Genesis 18:21 is raw, meaning to see, look at, inspect, perceive, to have vision, which is the same word used in Genesis 2:19 for Adam seeing a physical man, with physical eyes. Does this mean he had physical eyes? Why does he have to come down? Isn't he the all-knowing? Shouldn't he already know? And what place on earth could God, who you Christians say created the whole world and has it in his hand, be coming from? Then in Numbers 11:16-17, the God of the Bible tells Moses to gather 70 elders of Israel together and to bring them to the tabernacle of the congregation with him so that they can be with him, and he, the God of the Bible, would come down and talk with them. Numbers 11:16-17. And the Lord said unto Moses, Gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone. Why couldn't the God of the Bible just make his voice heard, the way Christians claim his voice came out of a burning bush in Exodus 3:2-4, where it says, and I quote, And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside, and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. Why would God have to come down to earth to talk to man? Why couldn't he just put the thought into his head? According to John 14:2, the God of the Bible has a house with mansions in it. John 14:2. In my Father's house are many mansions, if it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. The Greek word used for house is oikia, meaning residence, but usually an abode, home, household. The Greek word used for mansions is mona, meaning a staying, residence, abode, mansion. So if the God of the Bible has a house, or a residence, then he can't be everywhere at the same time. According to Revelation 14:17, heaven has a temple in it. And the Greek word for heaven is oranos, which means heaven, air, sky, the vaulted expanse of the sky with all things visible in it. And the Greek word used for temple is naos, meaning temple, a shrine, used of the temple at Jerusalem, but only of the sacred edifice, or sanctuary, itself, consisting of the holy place and the holy of the holies. In classical Greek it is used of sanctuary, of cell of the temple, where the image of God was placed, which is distinguished from the whole enclosure. And if heaven has a temple, and heaven has windows, Genesis 7:11, and doors is found in Revelation 4:1. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. Revelation 4:1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. Genesis 7:11. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. The Greek word used for door is thura, meaning door, gate, the vestibule, used of any opening like a door, an entrance, way or passage into. Again, I repeat, if heaven has doors, then it has a ceiling and floors. And according to Psalm 11:4, the God of the Bible is in his holy temple, where it says, and I quote in part, the Lord is in his holy temple. God cannot be less than himself, and if the God of the Bible dwells in temples, then doesn't that mean that the temple is bigger than him? With all the windows, Genesis 7:11 and 2 Kings 7:2, and tables, Luke 22:30, and doors, Psalm 78:23, rivers flowing with milk and honey, Quran 47:15, long white robes, Revelation 3:5, Revelation 18, 4-4, 6-11, 7-9, 7-13-14. Trees with fruit, Revelation 22-2, and a pure river of water, Revelation 22-1. There has to be somebody there to make sure that it is maintained. Because you say that heaven has doors and doors have hinges, and doors are made with wood or metal. If they are made of wood, then that means trees are there, thus, you need lumberjacks. If they are made of metal, that means there are stones there, making you in need of miners. So what you basically need are a lot of laborers, such as carpenters for the floors, seamstress for the white robes, and cotton pickers to pick cotton in order for the robes to be made. If all of this is going on in heaven, then you'd be better off staying here on earth. In Genesis 7:11 it speaks about heaven having windows. Then in Psalm 78:23 it speaks of heaven having doors, and Ezekiel 8:14 speaks about the Lord having a house with a gate and a direction, north. Now, according to Exodus 24, if you are not supposed to make any graven image, of any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is beneath, or that is in the water under the earth, does this mean that we are not supposed to have windows, a house, a gate, eat fish, or anything else in the sea for that matter? Right? According to Exodus 4:11, God made the deaf, dumb and blind. Exodus 4:11. And the Lord said unto him, Who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord? In Aramaic, Hebrew, the word used for made is sum or seem, meaning to put. The word being used in the Aramaic, Hebrew, for dumb is tla, meaning mute, silent, dumb, unable to speak. The word used for Aramaic, Hebrew, for deer is kresh, meaning deaf. If the God of the Bible made people that is deaf, dumb, and blind, does it mean that they were meant to be that way? That he made them that way for a reason? If God intentionally created people who cannot see, hear, and don't have the ability to speak, then why is that in Matthew 15:30 Jesus healed the blind and dumb? Matthew 15:30. And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others, and cast them down at Jesus' feet, and he healed them. The Greek word used for heal is SABAT-U, meaning heal, cure, to restore to health. The Greek word for blind is tuphlos, meaning blind, and the Greek word used for dumb is kaphos, meaning blunting of hearing or speech, deaf, dumb, speechless. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the word healed is defined as the following: 1. To restore to health or soundness, cure. See synonyms at cure. 2. To set right, repair, heal the rift between us. 3. To restore a person to spiritual wholeness. To become whole and sound, return to health. Middle English healin. From Old English halon. Thus, by the definition of the word heal, the condition of being blind or deaf or lame was a result of something gone wrong, or in other words a mistake, in order for Jesus to fix it. Now ask yourself, how could Jesus fix the deaf, the dumb, or the blind, if God of the Bible created them to be that way? In Exodus 4:10 Moses is not eloquent. Exodus 4:10. And Moses said unto the Lord, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech, and of a slow tongue. The Aramaic, Hebrew, word used for eloquent is dabar, meaning to speak. Thus, what Moses was saying is, I am not a speaker. Then he goes on to say, and I quote, I am slow of speech, and slow of tongue. Meaning his mouth was defected and he couldn't pronounce words properly. If Moses, who was supposed to be the prophet of the Bible, had a speech impediment, how do you know that he did not distort the words or message of God? Think about it. In Exodus 4:14-14, the God of the Bible tells Moses that he will put the words in his mouth and he, Moses, will tell his brother Aaron what to say. Exodus 4:14-16. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. And he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee, and when he seeth thee, he will be glad in his heart. And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do. And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people, and he shall be, even he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. And thou shalt be to him instead of God. In the above quote, the God of the Bible tells Moses that he knows that Aaron speaks well. So ask yourself, why didn't he just put his words directly into Aaron's mouth? Moses is still talking with impaired speech, so how do you know that he was even giving Aaron the message correctly? According to Isaiah 45:7, God created darkness and evil. Isaiah 45:7. I form the light, and create darkness. I make peace, and create evil. I the Lord do all these things. Ezekiel 20:25. Wherefore I gave them also statutes that were not good, and judgments whereby they should not live. Jeremiah 18:11. Now therefore go to "Speak to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good." The Aramaic, Hebrew, word used for create in Isaiah 45:7 is bara, meaning procreated, reconstructed, and the Aramaic, Hebrew, word used for darkness is koshek, meaning darkness, figure, misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, obscurity, secret place. And the Aramaic, Hebrew, word used for evil is ra, meaning disagreeable, malignant, bad or evil. This procreation of evil being spoken of here, was the procreation of what you call the devil or Satan, also called Halal, which is translated into English as Lucifer in Isaiah 45:7, and Nakash in Aramaic, Hebrew, which means serpent. Snake is found in Genesis 3:1, which is the devil whose father was also called the Devi, Satan, and that old serpent is found in Revelation 12:9, 20-2, and in Isaiah 14:12 as Shakar in Aramaic, Hebrew, meaning morning, Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? The word being used for son of in Aramaic, Hebrew, is ben, meaning son of, which is the same word used in the case of Abraham. In Genesis 18:10, when they were told that Sarah will give birth to a son, which is the same word being used in the case of the devil. The fact that the word in Ashuric/Syriac, Arabic, for son being used is ibn, meaning son of, and you hear it in the phonetics ibn, ben, they are from the same root word, that is procreation. Thus, Isaiah 45:7 is talking about of another devil, not just merely evil. Now ask yourself, why would a beneficent, loving, all-powerful God create evil and darkness, and create man without a will strong enough to resist the temptations of evil darkness? According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the word evil is defined as 1. Morally bad or wrong, wicked, an evil tyrant. 2. Causing ruin, injury, or pain, harmful, the evil effects of a poor diet. 3. Characterized by or indicating future misfortune, ominous, evil omens. 4. Bad or blameworthy by report, infamous, an evil reputation. If God of the Scriptures does not do evil, then why did God destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, rather than change those people into good people in Genesis 19:132? Why did God have to part the Red Sea and kill the Egyptians, when all he had to do was make the conditions right between the Israelites and the Egyptians, who were actually descendants of Egypt? Genesis 10:2, in Exodus 14:162. Why did God have to depart the Red Sea and kill the Egyptians, when all he had to do was stop hardening his heart in Exodus chapter 7, chapter 10? Why did God kill all the firstborn cattle and firstborn children in Egypt? Why did he have to kill innocent children and animals in Exodus 12:292? Why did he have to curse Canaan, with leprosy, an unclean and treacherous disease, Leviticus 13:12-15, over an unlawful act that his father, Ham, committed, Genesis 9:25. Leviticus 13:12-15, and if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh, then the priest shall consider, and, behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague, it is all turned white, he is clean. But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall see the raw flesh, and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is a leprosy. And on top of that, why did he have to send his only begotten son to die for your sins? John 3:16-2. Couldn't he just have waved his hands and changed the hearts of the sinners? Did he have to murder his only begotten son? John 3:16. Then in Amos 3:6 it says that if there is any evil done in the city, God has done it. Amos 3:6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city and the Lord hath not done it? Some Christians will try to say, couldn't the statement in Amos 3:6 mean that the Lord didn't do evil in the city? However, if the Bible is God's word, then it should be clear, and there should not be any room to misinterpret his words. Right? And according to Numbers 23:19 it says, and I quote in part, God is not a man, that he should lie. Therefore, according to Amos 3:6, the God of the Bible is responsible for evil, as you will also find in Isaiah 45:7, as I explained in the previous question, where it says, and I quote in part, I make peace and create evil. At least he is honest. He is telling you right here. You self-righteous Christians just don't want to accept the facts. You would rather deal in ignorance, ignoring the facts. The God of the Bible, who you say is the all-loving, all-powerful God, causes wars, kills innocent people, and does many other things that are evil according to your definition, just to prove his omnipotence, that he is all-powerful. If the God of the Bible is supposed to be all-loving, ask yourself, why does he cause all this confusion? Does God of the Bible hear the cries of the righteous? Psalm 34:15-17. The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Yet according to Luke 23:47, Jesus was a righteous man. Luke 23:47. Now when the centurion saw what was done, he glorified God, saying, Certainly this was a righteous man. And according to 2 Corinthians 5:21, Jesus did not know sin. 2 Corinthians 5:21. For he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him. The Greek word used in Luke 23:47 for righteous is dikaios, meaning equitable, in chapter or act, innocent, holy, just, meet, right, and the Greek word used for sin is amation, meaning to sin for your faults, offend, sin, trespass. The Aramaic, Hebrew, word used for righteous is Psalm 34:17 is tzaddik, meaning just, lawful, righteous in Matthew 27:46 and in Mark 15:34. Jesus cried out to God asking him why he had forsaken him. Matthew 27:46. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Mark 15:34. And at the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani? Which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? The Greek word used for forsaken is katalipo, meaning to leave behind in some place, let remain over, forsake, leave. And in Psalm 22:1-2 David is also forsaken. Psalm 22:1-2. To the chief musician upon Ieleth Shahar. A psalm of David. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me, and from the words of my roaring? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. Which is it? Does the God of the Bible hear the cry of the righteous, and delivereth them out of all their troubles, or not? Based on Matthew 7:7, it clearly says your Father would not deny your request, and in this case, your Father would mean our Father, our Heavenly Father, as found in Matthew 6:9. According to Matthew 7:8-9, if you ask your Father for something and you are sincere, he will not say no, nor, as they put it, give you a substitute like a stone for a piece of bread. Matthew 7:9. Matthew 7:8-9. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you, whom if his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? So with this in mind, I ask the question, when Jesus says in the Lord's Prayer, as found in Matthew 6:13, and I quote in part, and lead us not from temptation, but deliver us from evil, which is a part of a prayer that begin with our Father who art in heaven. Wasn't the request to not let us be tempted and to be delivered from evil? It was denied. Jesus asked not to be tempted or lead into temptation. However, in Luke 4:6-9 this evil being was allowed to tempt Jesus. So, why was Jesus led to temptation? Why was Jesus delivered to evil? Why would God do this to his only begotten Son? Numbers 11:17 says that God says, and I quote in part, I will come down. Within these 4 words we have come and down. The act of coming is to move from one place to another. Down would imply to descend from above, downward. This was before your Jesus concept. This was pure Judaic teachings before the books of the prophets that predict the coming of a Messiah who you imply would come out of heaven. So in this case we would be talking about his Father who in Matthew 6:9 he, Jesus, clearly says, and I quote in part, who art in heaven. The word place designates a spot, a location, or simply some place in particular. All of these would limit God to a place or to a location, or to be coming to and fro. So again I ask, if God is everywhere at all times, can he be at any spot, location or place? It says that God departed, where it says, and I quote, Numbers 12:9, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and he departed. Ask yourself, how can God depart if he is omnipresent, meaning present everywhere? According to the American Heritage Dictionary, the word depart is defined as the following: to go away, leave. If the God of the Bible is present everywhere, then if he were to depart or leave some place, where would he go? How could he go somewhere he isn't already at?